Hi, welcome to the Calculus 2 lecture series. And we are in the unit number 2. We are talking about the different techniques of integration. So the lecture number 7 is focused on the trigonometry integrals. And this is our video number 4. So in this video, we're going to talk about how to take the integration if you have a multiplication of sine and cosine with like sine ax times cosine bx. So how about if you have this type of the trig function combinations, then how do you take the integration? And for the previous 3 videos, we talk about the sine cosine combination with the exponents, power, and the tangent secant, and then also just the tangent by itself, secant by itself. What is the integration? So now let's take a look at our last set of the skill, and which probably will be very helpful for us to do the trigonometry integrations here. Okay, let's go ahead, go to our lecture notes here. All right, so in this lecture notes here, like we said, basically we're going to talk about the integration form. You have the combination of sine mx, sine nx, or cosine combination, or sine and cosine combinations here. So for here, the 3 sets of the key. So let's take a look at the key, the identities we're going to use, or the key formula we're going to use for this type of the integration. So the key formula, we have 3. So the first one's here. So here, let me write a little better. Okay, so the key formula, the first one's here. How about if I have a sine and the cosine combination? So here, this is a sine AX or sine A. I'm sorry, I don't want to put it. Okay, so sine A. So if sine A and the cosine B, so you have 2 angles, A and B. Then the formula here we use will be 1/2 here. Then this is a sine A minus B, and plus sine A plus B. Okay, and then for the second one's here, if I have a sine A sine B, then the formula we're going to use will be 1/2 cosine A minus B, and minus cosine A plus B. Okay, and other ones here is a cosine combination. So if I have cosine A, cosine B, then here will be 1/2 cosine A minus B plus cosine A plus B. Okay, so for this ones here, those are the 3 key formula we are going to use. And of course, the key, the integration one. So just like we did for the other video, the key integration formula we need to know is if you are integrating cosine, let's say here, the AX dx is here. Right? So if you have a constancy here, then your integration will be what? The sine AX. Then because of the, the chain rule, so you have over A, then plus C here, right? So you just need to do a constant. And the same way, if you are integrating sine AX dx, right? So same things here, you have a's here, right? Then the integrations here will be negative cosine AX over A plus C. So of course, after you simplify it, you can use the u sub to get those constant. But if you can remember that, that will be a a lot easier, try to do the integration and a lot faster. And okay, so here, the key formula, I have a list here. So you say, why is this one's here? So basically, we are using the, the formula we learned, from the trig is we know what is the, okay, so if you have we know how to what is the formula if you are adding two functions, right? So the sum of the sine, so this will be the sine A cosine B plus cosine B sine A, cosine A. So this will be cosine A and sine B, see here, right? Okay, so now if you have the sine A minus B, so this will be sine A cosine B and minus cosine A sine B, see here. Okay, so that's why if you take a look, so if I'm finding, so for the first formulas here, if you find the sine A cosine B, right? So sine A cosine B, so that's why when you, what you did here, when you add the names, right? So you add these two, so the sine A minus B, sine A plus B, sine A minus B. So when you add them together, these two terms disappears, right? So these two terms, one is negative, one is positive. So these two terms disappear. You have a 2 sine A cosine B. So that's where is this 1/2 come in here, right? So that's a pretty easy way to kind of show why this one's here. So the same things here, right? So for the sine A sine B, so we have the cosine sum formula. This is the one we also learn in the trig. So this will be what? This will be cosine cosines, right? So this is cosine A, cosine B, minus sine A, sine B, right? So the same way is here, if you have a cosine A minus B, what is this one we're going to be? This is a cosine A, cosine B, then plus sine A, sine B. Right? Okay, so if I want to find the cosine cosines, right? So just like we talked before, here this is a plus, this is a minus. So these two, when you add, will cancel. So it will be have 2 cosine A cosine B here. So the 2 cosine A cosine B, that is where you get 1/2 here. So when you add these two, so the same way, if you use cosine A minus B minus cosine A plus B, then the cosine A cosine B will be canceled. Then you will have 2 sine A sine B. So that's why it's this 1/2. So this formula here is kind of a pretty straightforward, and it's not too difficult to prove here. Okay, so now let's take a look. Let's take a look at the first problem. They say, okay, what is the integration for the cosine 4x, sine 4x, cosine 5x? So this is, you can treat this is sine A, and this is 5x is B. So it's a sine cosine, right? So it's a sine cosine, so it's 1/2. Okay, so because this is a sine cosine, so this one I can change to, this is 1/2 the integration cosine, so the sine cosine, so what it will be? It's sine A minus B. So sine A minus B, so it will be 4x minus 5x, correct? And then plus sine A plus B, right? So sine A plus B, so it's 4x plus 5x. dx, right? So this is my A minus B plus A plus B, right? So it will be just the first set of the formula. It's A minus B plus sine A plus B. Okay, so now in here we can say this is 1/2, right? So this integration will be what? It's a sine negative x dx. then plus sine, how many x here? 9x dx, right? Then in here, we're going to say this is 1/2. So remember, right? So we said this is the key things to use if you have a constant. So this is 1, this is 9. So we need to divide the constants. So what is the first one going to be? So first one going to be negative what? Negative, okay. So we need to put this negative out. And so this -1, so maybe it's better you put it like this way so you will not confuse it. Then the sign, so the sign will be what? It will be the negative cosine AX, right? So it's a negative cosine, all right? Then plus, then the sign here, and then this one will be what is 9, and what is here is negative cosine 9x. So maybe I should add one more key identities here. So this is the, other is the key identity. Maybe we're going to use for this part more frequently will be the if you have a sine negative x, it will be negative sine x, and the cosine negative x is equal to the cosine x, because I know the cosine is even function, the sine is odd functions, right? Okay, so we learn all this is from trig. Okay, so now this is a plus c here, so this is negative positive. So this is will be 1/2 cosine negative x. And what is here is minus 18 cosine 9x plus c. Then because the cosine is even function, so this is 1/2 cosine x minus 18 the cosine 9x plus c. All right. Okay. Now let's take a look at the second ones here. This is a cosines, right? So cosine. So this is my A, this is my B. So I have a cosine. So let's go back to my formula. What is cosine? It's, you add a cosine A minus B and cosine A plus B, all right? So this will be, okay, so let's rewrite this. This is 1/2, okay, cosine A minus B, so it's 5x minus 2x, then plus cosine A plus B, so it's 5x plus 2x here is dx, right? Okay, so now this will be 1/2 here. So, right, so here this is your A, so it's A minus B and A plus B, right? Okay, so it's A minus B and A plus B. So now here, this will be 1/2. How many x? Cosine 3x dx, then plus cosine what? 7x dx. All right, and then we said because this has a constant, this has a constant. So when we integrate, we make sure we adjust the constants. So this is 1/2. So what is here? You put the constants 3 down here, right? Cosine integration will give you what? Sine 3x. Then plus here, what is here is 7. Then this is sine 7x plus c. All right. So now my final answer is sine 3x plus 14 sine 7x plus 6, right? All right, so it's pretty simple. So like for this type of integration, it's very, very easy as long as we know, the formulas here. So remember that, okay, so this is a sines, right? So sine. All right, so sine is cosine minus cosine, right? Okay, so sine. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, for this problem, really, you have several different ways you probably can do that. So here, this is a sine. So I say this is A, this is what? This is B here, right? Okay, so it will tell you this will be equal to the 1/2 integration is cosine what? Okay, sine is cosine A minus B, right? So cosine A minus B. Right, so cosine A minus B minus cosine plus B. Okay, cosine A minus B, so be careful about the negative sign. So it's x minus negative x, right? Then minus cosine A plus B, so it's x plus negative x dx here. All right, and now in here, this will give you 1/2. So what is this one? Be careful, right? So this is a plus, minus, minus. So it become what? Become plus. So this is a cosine 2x dx. Then minus. Okay, so here this is positive x and negative x. So it's 0. And we know what is cosine. So this one will give you the cosine 0. What is cosine 0 is 1, right? So here, this will be minus 1 times what? Dx here. Okay, so now here is the same thing. So I have what? I have a constant, right? So I need to adjust the constant. So this one here will be 1/2. So what is this one? Is you put a 2 here. Cosine integration is the sine 2x. What is here? This is a minus 1/2 the x's, right? So this is a plus c. So my final answer will be 4 sine 2x minus 1/2 of the x plus c. Okay, and that will be our answer. All right, so that's it. So this video is really pretty easy one. It's just basically try to deal with another different situation about the combination of the trig function like sine, cosine, and or the sine cosine combination. So remember we use the sum formula and the subtraction formula, right? So that's why here's the proof. It's very easy to show. All right, that's it. That's it for this lecture. And lecture number 7, we talk about the trigonometry integrals. So we have the 4 videos, and each video we talk about the different type of the combinations of the trig function and what type of the technique we can use to do the integration. All right, that's it. And now the next ones here, our next lecture we're going to talk about, we call it trig substitution. So it's kind of go a different way, like we have like the algebraic functions. Then how do we use the trig? Kind of instead of use up, we use the trig substitutions and how to do that. All right, that's it. And looking forward to talk to you in our next video. All right, you have a good day. Okay, bye-bye.